Hello y'all, it's your girl Vimbo, and this week we are focusing on holiday cheer, more specifically fun things to do in DC and the DMV area during this holiday season. So stay tuned for all of those tips. Hey guys, my name is Vimbo and I come to you with Wednesday words, just about honestly whatever is on my mind. I am especially passionate about things such as self-care. I worked in education for a long time, so you might see stuff about that sprinkled in, but this week's Wednesday word is all about 3 tips or 3 recommendations for things to do in DC during the holidays. And my first recommendation is really, it's a holiday thing, but it's also a year-round thing. So my number 1 tip for something to do in DC, honestly anytime you can visit, is go to the museums. If you have never been to Washington, DC, our nation's capital, we have a lot of museums that you can visit for free. Whereas maybe in other cities, you might pay an entry fee or things like that. I recently had my sister visiting and we were able to go to the National Portrait Gallery. I believe it's called the American Museum of Art, and the National Museum about African American History, which I've been to, I believe, like 5 times now. It's my favorite. I really enjoy going to any of the museums here. A quick tip, if you are visiting DC, you may not be aware, there are a couple of museums that do require you to make a reservation in order to guarantee that you are able to enter that day. And I think they do that for like busy times of the year, such as the holidays. So I would recommend, if you're coming into town, to make reservations for the date and time that you want to visit the museum, the National Museum for African American History. That's one of the museums that requires a reservation. And the Air and Space Museum, the one that's located in DC. Those are the 2 that I know of that require reservations, that are free museums, but they require reservations ahead of time. Otherwise, there are so many museums, the Museum of American History, the Museum of Natural History, there's a Women's History Museum. There are so many museums. And so if you're coming to DC holiday time, definitely check out the museums. And I feel like it's a very cost-effective way to have a really fantastic time. And really great as well is that if you're visiting these museums during the holiday time, sometimes they have different exhibits that are rotating. And so you may see some holiday themed exhibits. My second tip for something to do in DC that is fun during the holidays, and this may be very cliche, but I'm gonna lean into it, is to get a White House tour. Let me explain. So in December, the White House is decorated for whatever theme that, I believe it's typically the First Lady who decides what the decorations will be. And so I think last week there was a group of volunteers who set up these elaborate decorations, and throughout the month of December you are able to get a tour of the White House. Now let me explain to you how you can get that, because it's a little tricky. So it does definitely take some planning. My recommendation would be to start reaching out. I mean, this might be a next year project, but probably to start trying to reach out as early as like the summer, maybe August, end of the summer. And how you get a ticket is whatever state you live in, you can reach out to your state representative. Every state representative, go to their website. They should have, if you search for White House passes or DC related passes, they have the ability for you to ask them for either a pass to the White House or a pass to go and see the Capitol and see Congress in session. And so you can request that. Now, that being said, you typically have to give them a range of time or like dates. So I remember last year, my husband and I, we requested a White House tour, and I'm still glad we have had a White House tour. You get to go through the East Wing, which is the part that they open to tours when they have tour days. We requested our tour as soon as we moved to the DMV, which was in the fall. And honestly, your notice of when you've been approved for the tour varies. So we did not get to see the White House during December when it was all decorated. Those tours were all full, rightfully so, because it was beautifully decorated. We got an email like beginning of January, and we were given like a couple days notice of like, hey, 2 tickets have opened up for you to go to a White House tour if you're still available. So we in our request had said we have open availability because we live in DC, but if you are visiting from out of town, it's gonna take more coordinating. And obviously you have to provide all of that information up front. They'll ask you for different information as you're touring the White House, since it is a secure building. But otherwise, it's not a hard process. It's just you've got to plan ahead to try to do that. But I would 1,000,000% recommend it. Even visiting in January after the decorations were taken down, which womp womp, you know, very sad, was still a really cool experience to see the inside of the White House, just a place where so much history has been made. And so that was really interesting to be there. And hopefully, my hope is, we've put in a couple of requests, and I'm actually involved in some clubs that may have the ability to go and do a White House tour this month. So fingers crossed, this is my year that I get to do a White House tour. I'm really hopeful. My third recommendation for things to do if you are in DC during the holiday season is the DC Holiday Market. Now this year there are actually 2. So the Holiday Market this year has been moved to DuPont Circle, and I will link below both of the markets that I'm talking about. But there is the DC Holiday Market, and then there is the downtown DC Holiday Market. And essentially they're both great. We swung by the downtown DC Holiday Market the week of Thanksgiving, and it was a lot of fun. Definitely, if you're looking for very interesting gifts and things that you want to give people who you love in your life that are unique, that you're not just going to find, you know, at a normal store or on Amazon even. It's kind of like the Etsy of shopping in real life. So I would highly recommend, if you are in DC, stop by a holiday market. And here's a bonus tip. There are more than just DC holiday things happening. Just one way to find fun things to do that I've been really excited by is using sites such as Eventbrite or Facebook events to see what is happening in my area. I have found that there's going to be like a boat parade in DC, and that'll be, you know, one of these upcoming weekends. And there are lots more holiday markets besides the 2 that I mentioned, in case shopping is your thing. But there's just so much to do. So I know this is the time of year, if you're like me, we like to stay inside, we like to stay warm, but don't lose your chance to make a little bit of holiday magic. And I think you will not regret it. So from my heart to yours, I hope that you have a wonderful Wednesday, and I hope that this video sprinkled a little bit of sunshine into your life, and I hope that you are able to go on and sprinkle some sunshine into someone else's. Bye for now.